As our mandrakes are only seedlings, their cries won't kill yet. However, they will knock you out for several hours. And as I'm sure none of you want to miss your first day back, make sure your earmuffs are securely in place while you work.
It's also quite dangerous. The mandrake's cry is fatal to anyone who hears it.
Excellent. 10 points to Gryffindor. Now, as our mandrakes are still only seedlings, their cries won't kill you yet, but they could knock you out for several hours, which is why I've given each of you a pair of earmuffs for auditory protection. So could you please put them on right away? Quickly.
So I'm sure that you've been in this situation where you're watching a TV series or listening to a podcast or even taking part in a conversation in English, and you could not understand everything the person was saying. But then, the moment you turned on the subtitles or you looked at the transcription, the phrase was so obvious. You realized that you knew every single word and were able to perfectly understand the meaning of the sentence.
Pronunciation is about making yourself understood. It isn't about copying anybody's accent. Simply that you embrace pronunciation as a thing of joy when you're learning English or teaching English. Don't be scared of it. Make it your own and live it because it belongs to you.
Today, English pronunciation specialist Mark Hancock will share all about the importance that connected speech, pronunciation, and accents have on your English language journey. So if you watch until the end, you will no longer feel frustrated because you need subtitles or feel the need to turn on the CCs. It's totally fine if you can't understand 100% of what you listen to. But learning about connected speech is a helpful and convenient way to depend less and less on subtitles. So without further ado, Mark, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so happy to have Mark on the show because here at Real Life English, we bring the world's most influential online teachers and experts so that you can go beyond the classroom. We want to guide you on your learning journey with lessons that take you from feeling like a lost and insecure English learner to being a confident and natural English speaker, just like Max. Does that sound like what you want for your English? Then join our community by hitting that subscribe button and the bell down below. Connected speech is a big part of most fluent English speakers, whether you are a native speaker or not. Yet, so many schools fail to teach it. Just to give you an example, look at how Anna uses a lot of connected speech features here.
I've had a lot of break points, I'd say, on my journey, and a lot of mistakes that I made. Well, I wouldn't say mistakes, just maybe I miscalculated some things and I could have done something differently.
Now let's take a look at what Mark, who has published 26 books on pronunciation, says about the importance of learning and teaching connected speech.
Here we have to distinguish between productive and receptive pronunciation. Because we often assume pronunciation is about speaking, productive skill. But as I just implied a few moments ago, it's also a receptive skill, a listening skill. So this connected speech that you're talking about, these features of connected speech, they're really important for listening because a lot of speakers of English use features of connected speech. So you need to be able to understand connected speech, but for your productive pronunciation, not necessarily. Features of connected speech are all about making it easier for a lazy mouth to produce. It's streamlining, to use a term from Richard Caldwell. Think of the shape of a vehicle, a car. A car has that shape, which is a kind of smooth, rounded shape. It doesn't look like a brick. It looks smooth and rounded in order that the air will pass over it more easily so that it can speed along without causing much resistance air to the airflow. Speech is like that, connected speech. It's knocking the edges off so that it's easier for your tongue and your jaw and your mouth to get it out without too much effort. So it's not about intelligibility. Connected speech is not about intelligibility. It's not about making yourself understood. It's about just having an easier life. If you're in the business of trying to make yourself understood, and making yourself understood is paramount, you don't need to worry about using connected speech. Actually, it doesn't make you any more intelligible. It may actually make you less intelligible, just because it's principally for listening. Sometimes you might teach it, you might even drill it productively, but the idea is not for them to speak that way, but saying it is sometimes the best way of hearing it, strangely enough. Sometimes you get a real aha moment when a student says it, and then they can hear it for the first time. That happens too. But yes, connected speech, important for listening.
Absolutely fascinating. Could you give us an example?
One thing I like, for example, with walked, and walked is put it in a short phrase like walked up the hill, right? You can just go round and round in a micro loop. Walked up the hill, walked up the hill, walked up the hill, top the hill, top the hill, walked up the hill, walked up the hill, walked up the hill. If you say it over and over and over again, and your students join in and they kind of chant, it starts to sound really odd. The meaning disappears, and you're left with simply the sound substance, and then you're going, does it really sound like that? Wow, that sounds weird. And that's a good aha learning moment, when the student starts to find it weird. Really? It sounds like that? I'd never noticed that before. Eureka, that is it. That's the moment.
So let's try this quick exercise. First, read this sentence at a normal speed without connected speech, saying word by word. It probably sounded something like this, right? Learning English takes a lot of work. Now let's try it with connected speech. Learning English takes a lot of work. Wasn't that fun? The more you practice, the easier it gets. So why not practice it in real conversations with the RealLife app? With the RealLife English app, you can also speak in English anytime, anywhere, with someone in another part of the world. It's a lot like traveling without leaving the comfort of your own home. And Mark himself highlights the role of pronunciation in this experience.
Because English, after all, is a global language now. It's a global lingua franca. And there are many English speakers, many voices around the world. Who's to say which one you're going to end up talking to? Let's say you're a person from Spain and you have a Spanish accent in English. You may end up speaking to an RP speaker from the southeast of England. You may, but you probably not. You'll probably end up speaking to somebody from Slovenia or some other part of the world who in turn will have their own accent. Does that mean that you're going to have to learn Slovenian accented English in order to speak to them? It does not mean that at all. Of course it doesn't mean that. It means that everybody simply has to be a bit more tolerant of accent variation, because that's the world. It's a global community. We have to, we speak locally, we understand globally. That means our tolerance as listeners has to be much bigger than our capability as speakers.
But wait, that's not all of it. If you are learning from Mark's insights on pronunciation, he also emphasized that pronunciation should be fun, and even shared a few examples and resources to help with that. You can listen to the full interview for free and follow along with an interactive transcript. If connected speech and pronunciation are topics that you enjoy, then make sure to like this video so that YouTube can recommend more videos about this topic for you. In the meantime, make sure to check out this lesson Andrea made to help you better understand the different features of connected speech. Let's take a look at a clip from that.
When you start to understand how we sound and flow while speaking English, you'll learn that it's not really that we speak fast. I mean, some people do, but I and most people don't. What is really happening is that we manipulate sounds in such a way that it might sound as if we're speaking faster, but we're really not. We're just adding the things I mentioned before: reduction, linking, and sound morphing. That's connected speech.